Morning of my 88th day. I think it's the 13th of August. And this is the coldest I've been in a long time. As you can no doubt see, this really nice campsite, guess where my tent was, has a very thick cloud that's blowing through. It's been like that for hours. I didn't get rained on, but it is just a very, very heavy moisture that's got everything sort of soaked. And then when you have that kind of humidity, your down doesn't loft as much. It feels a lot colder on your skin. There's a light breeze, which just really adds to it. So I'm wearing a hat and my Alpha Direct for the first time to walk in and when I get started in a long time because I'm really chilly. I spent the last like 3-ish days trying to decide, does my sleeping mat really have a hole in it, or is it just the very cool air that's causing me to have to put a couple puffs in it each night? And I'm pretty confident at this point it finally has its first hole in over 5,500 miles of backpacking, which is incredible. I never would have thought it would have gone that long before needing to get patched. So way too cold to patch it right here. Maybe tomorrow. And if not, in Tacoma, when I take a couple days off as I'm passing through there, that'd be a perfect time to try to find it. Here it is, Goat Rock's Wilderness Boundary. So I hadn't heard of the Goat Rocks before I started this trip. But as I've gotten closer to Washington, more and more people, especially locals, have talked about the Goat Rocks than anything else out here. And then looking at the map, I can see that Snowy Top Mountain, or Old Snowy, whatever it's called, is all glaciated and looks like it's really open and rocky. And I'll hit that later today. Probably once the sun cooks all of this low, wet moisture fog out of the area too. So that'd be extra great for views. And so everything's not wet up there. But I'm really excited. I think a lot of people that are just driving around this section are going to be really upset that they didn't get to see Goat Rocks. I'm getting ever closer to Old Snowy, and for the first time I'm getting a glimpse of some sun in places. So it's up there. It's proof that it's up there. But I'm sure you can see that there's still a lot of this fog blowing through. I still have at least 5 miles to get to what's supposed to be amazing view. So fingers crossed that either I'll get out of the clouds or the sun will get rid of them or something. Well, I'm a good ways up. I'm about like 6,600. The top of this thing, 7,800, I think. But you can tell I'm out of breath. For the first time, the tops are popping out of the clouds. There's blue up there and behind it. I don't want to count my chickens, but the sun is making me squint. All this low mist is blowing through pretty quick. There might just be a chance by the time I get up there that I'll have some views. They're at least going to be better than they were an hour ago. A couple more minutes. Just lazy bones. I'm back in a cloud that's got enough moisture that it keeps on fogging up my sunglasses. So my eyes are squinting, but I can't see with them on. So I'm like squinting and working my way up this, but I'm on this short glacier. You can see it has a steep drop off on that side. I'm hoping that these clouds blow all the way through so I get some views after all this work. I'm back in a cloud. I'm off the glacier part. Sun's trying to fight through. up there. There's more snow that way. But I'm definitely going to go the old snowy route. And just fingers crossed that the clouds lift again for a view. And if not, it's still a scrambly adventure. In and out of the clouds, but there's a glimpse of Adams. And currently, still some blue up there. So we'll see. It's taken me a while, it's pretty steep. So we'll see what it's doing at the top. So this is the Eagles Crest Trail junction, where the old snowy alt meets. That's the summit of old snowy Adams. And you can see, doesn't look super likely that the clouds are going to be completely gone, because it feels like I'm in an airplane, but I'm above a blanket of them, which is pretty unique. Definitely worth it. Really good views off to the east. You can see there's still glaciers on the west facing sides of these big ridges. You can see the PCT down there too. Very beautiful. Just starting to work my way down. You can see the top of it's actually pretty scrambly. It's pretty steep. And then this is really like the steepest scrambly part on the way up until the top. And the rest down there really has a pretty easy to follow path. But just wanted to show that from center screen, that point with the cloud backdrop, all the way along there, they call that the old snowy knife's edge. And so that is where the Eagle Crest Trail continues on that thing and then drops down somewhere into the clouds. So I'm gonna work my way down and go across that. I'm sure I'll take some videos along the way there. Looks pretty epic. This is at the bottom of the thing I was just pointing out. That's probably a good 20 feet of class 3 scrambling to get up to where I was just standing. I was just standing on top of that thing. Safely off of Old Snowy and onto the Eagle Crest Trail with the old snowy knife edge. Short and sweet, but really fun. Looks like I'm almost done with it. So I've come down this way and this way, this way. And then this is kind of the last that I can see from here. Actually, let's do some together. Let's see what's after this dive board looking edge. It's probably not going to be a vertical drop. Renair, over there. Marshmallow clouds. It's like I'm in an airplane. Well, place your bets if I'm going to ever get out of this cloud or not. That's the bluest I've seen on the uphill horizon yet, but this is more of what it's been looking like. It's cold. It's in the high 40s, so there's a lot of moisture in the air, and everything's soaked, like including my feet again. It feels kind of like this morning, walking through brush, it splashes all of this condensation on you, so it's going to be a cold night. I'm going to end up getting to camp all soaking wet and cold, and then probably eating as fast as I can and trying to get in my sleeping bag. Well, it's a beautiful morning. It's August 14th, day 89, I think. And there's Mount Rainier. It's the best view I've had of it so far. You can obviously see there's still a blanket of clouds down low, but up high, that's probably old snowy over there between the trees. But it's a beautiful day. It's hard to not be a little bitter that old snowy for me was in a soaking wet cloud and everything was wet all day for the most part, and today's so nice, but it's just the roll of the dice to see what you get when you're at certain places. I think I just need to try to be mindful and happy that I came through here when most northbounders, I think, drove around because of the Williams wildfire. So I got to experience something that many people didn't. So you just have to stay positive with that. It's about 8:30. I expect to get to the Cracker Barrel at White Pass sometime before noon, close to noon probably. And I've got a resupply mailed there, my Kevlar stuff sack for the Snoqualmie bear resistant requirement. And then I'm going to talk to them about possibly doing laundry and a shower too. Made it to White Pass. The resupply is a half a mile, about, give or take, that way. And PCT goes off that direction. Or maybe down there. I don't know. I'll figure that out when I get back. And then it's really hard to see, but right where that log thing is a parking lot to get into that place I was just at. Oh, this must be it. So, I'm gonna go in. Hopefully my 2 packages are here. Try to charge up and get going again today. So this was an eventful and good stop. They've got charging places, tables, shade, hiker boxes in the back, fully equipped store inside. You could totally do a resupply. My first mail drop, my food resupply, was here, but my earth sack arrived in town yesterday and was not here, but they were bringing it up today, and it's actually 20 after 4. I got here around 11, so they just got here, and I have it now, but I had to wait for it. But I did my laundry, I showered, charged everything. I found the leak in my pad. It did have a leak. It was right by the valve. And it's actually the first place I looked. I found it in under 10 seconds. And I spent a whole bunch of time checking the bottom and the top while I was at it to make sure there wasn't more than one hole. But I did patch it and test it. It seems like it should be doing good. Tonight will be the real test. The other thing that happened was there was a man that was very sick, apparently with very bad norovirus, and was sick enough that somebody called an ambulance. The ambulance called emergency response helicopter. I always call them Lifestar. That's what we call them in Connecticut, but whatever they call it out here, it's like a helicopter ambulance basically. And it tried to land right there, and when it touched down, it put up so much of the dust from the gravel that you couldn't see a thing. I was standing over there in the corner watching it land, and it just disappeared. It was gone. And it was so dusty that they took back off and then flew and then landed down over kind of where those signs are by the ski resort. And so sure enough, the guy got loaded up and taken away by a helicopter. So that's something that you don't see very often, especially since it was for he must have been in really rough shape. Like normally you don't get a helicopter ambulance for having norovirus and not being able to keep fluids down. So maybe he was in really rough shape. Anyway, the fire that is 30 miles ahead doesn't seem to be getting any worse. There's no current closures. They've updated 2 of the things in the PCT closure app thing, but it's all the same information. They just combined some of the fires. So I read all those. There's nothing new. And as long as I can get by this new fire tomorrow, maybe they even have it snuffed out by this point, then I'll be in good shape. So I'm walking back down to the trail, and I'm going to do not a whole lot more since it's already 4:30. I'm going to do like another 7 or 8 miles. And then that'll give me like 3 28-mile days to get to Snoqualmie Pass. Wow, I didn't realize I was here already. I just walked right up to this. But I checked the far out guide, and it is true. This is mile marker 2300, which means that there's 350 trail miles left. Crazy. So now that I've been in Washington for a few days, if I had to describe at least my experience of it so far, I would have to go with like moist and gloomy and cold. I think that's how I'd kind of sum it up. Like, I have what is and should feel like a wonderful, gorgeous campsite. I've got a nice flat spot. There's a cool little bench here that, gets you up off the ground. Fire pits are fine. I haven't had a fire and I'm super sick of them because of all the fire reroutes, so whatever. I don't care about that personally. And then check this out, like really, really unique sort of peninsula that's up high with a really pretty lake. Most of the lakes in this area have been very shallow and almost like the water is fine. It's clear, but it looks brown because it's got a really mucky bottom. But this lake has a really pretty sort of turquoise blue to it. And there's this neat peninsula and I'm raised up off of it. Like, it's a really unique site, but I'm cold and damp and it's gloomy. You can see there's just like clouds of water blowing around everywhere. And it's, pretty. Actually, it's really cool watching it blow across the water. I don't know if it's just a cold front or if this is how the state normally is, but it's not what I was expecting. If it was like a hot day, like say in the 80s or something, and I got here sooner, this would be an awesome campsite because I'd guess I'm probably like, 12, 15 feet above the water surface. And the water here at least is reasonably deep. I bet that's 5 feet deep. I might not jump from this high, but from that lower ledge, which is maybe 5 or 6 feet above the water, I might jump in. But yeah, there's no thoughts of that at all. I'm going to go put on some warmer clothes and go get in my sleeping bag. Try to get some sleep even before it gets dark. Well, it's another dark, damp, and disgusting Washington morning. Everything's soaked. It's cold. And there's a chance of showers all day. Tomorrow's supposed to be cold and cloudy. And the day after that has a chance, I think, of thunderstorms and showers. It's a bit of a dreary forecast. And, morale's not breaking through the top of the meter at the moment. It's fine. I'm in the last state. But for some reason in my head, I was picturing something different. Like the New Hampshire and Maine section of the AT is my favorite by far, and Montana was epic on the CDT. So I guess in my head I was just picturing like the last northern state to be more similar to those. And I've been in it for about a week now. I can't say with certainty, but it's been a lot more like this than it hasn't. Well, I just added a new animal sighting to the trip. In this field over here, there were 3 elk that were grazing that saw me and took off. So that's cool. That's the first elk I've seen this trip. Okay, so now that it's after 11 and I've had a chance to kind of get going and warm up, this isn't so bad. Really, there was one very, very wet morning where everything was just soaked and it all brushed onto me as I walked through the brush. But even though I'm in the clouds, that means I'm not getting cooked by the sun. Everything's dry enough, like I'm not wet at all, like there's no condensation left on this grass, for example. And the temperature actually is really pleasant for walking. So what makes for sort of a damp, gross camping experience so far is actually pretty ideal for hiking. So I guess it's a trade-off. But right now I don't mind it. But it is a tough way to get started in the morning when you have to pack away everything damp. And you can't really lay everything out in the sun and let it get cooked dry like you are able to on most of the other parts of the trail. Just there hasn't been enough sun for that. Anyway, before too long, I should be coming up on where the 5-acre, I can't remember what it's called. It's like the knob pole fire or something like that. It was like 5 acres by Highway 410, right next to the trail. But supposedly, oh, poor little baby bird. Get off the trail, get off the trail. Hopefully it'll be all right. It's a second baby bird that I had to deal with doing that. The first one was like a grouse that just kept running away from me on the trail, and I kept accidentally pushing it further and further from its mother. Not that bad, I mean maybe like 100 feet, so hopefully they're reunited. So that road down there should be Route 410, which is where the new fire started the other day. It should be further that way to the east. And there's plenty of cars going through. There's a lot of people hiking in this area that I'm at right now. So I think the trail's open. The PCT crosses the road somewhere behind this clump of trees and goes up that ridge. Looks like it's going to be a pretty big climb. So obviously there's a lot of clouds moving through, but that down there on the edge of the sunlit hill looks to me more like smoke. So I wonder if that's where that fire is that started up the day before yesterday. You can hear a bird screeching every once in a while. It's pretty cool. It's probably some kind of raptor. Well, I'm very happy to say that the sun is poking out today, and I'm getting some nice views. My stuff got all put away really wet, so I'm hoping that there's still some sun when I set up camp and can maybe dry some things out before bed. It's a beautiful morning on August 17th. Washington has given me a softball lob today. Everything was not soaked when I woke up. Granted, I wasn't sleeping anywhere near water, so that might be the trick. Yeah, I took my time, packed up. Today's the day that I'm meeting some friends in Tacoma and staying with them for some time to allow myself to finish the trail at a good pace. Well, I just had my third bee sting of the trip, and all of them have happened in the last few weeks, which is annoying. But that little red dot there, nature called. I wandered down into this area to go find a good place, started using my trowel to make a hole, and then had a yellow jacket land on my wrist and sting me. And so I was able to kill it, which makes me feel better. And then I started backing away from that spot, and I didn't step directly on a hive, but I must have been pretty close to a ground nest or something, because there was a bunch that were out that weren't happy. So it's not a fun way to start the morning, but it's not so bad. I can barely feel the sting anymore. I'm in my multi-day break from the trail because I have to use up some time since I have a set finish date. But my wife Vanessa told me that tonight was a supermoon, and I didn't think I'd get to see it since I'm in such a urban environment, but it does look quite huge.